Hello everyone, welcome to the Code Goat. And in this part, we are going to learn about the create model, which is the very crucial concept of FastAPI. And it is used in most of the enterprise framework where this FastAPI is used. So without any delay, let's start. So before diving into our concept, first understand the problem statement and why we should use this create model. So what is our problem? Let's think about your e-commerce website. You can think about Amazon. And in this e-commerce website, you have multiple products. You have this mobile phone, you have this t-shirt, you have any other type of electronic item. It can be a television. So out of these three product, if I go with my regular implementation of FastAPI, I have to create a single base model for each of my product because all the product will have its own kind of fields. So just to show you that, I have one implementation and that implementation is here. So here I have this product name and price. Let's suppose you are a admin, and as a admin you need to add this particular product to your inventory, and also you want to reflect these items to your e-commerce website. So here I have this drop down where I have this laptop, t-shirt and manufacturing equipment. And if I choose a laptop, it will have a product name, anyhow it will have a price, it will have a CPU type, and it will have a RAM. Let's go to the t-shirt. Again, if you are selling something, all the product will have a product name and price. Now comes to its definition, come to its details, its color and size. Earlier for the laptop, the CPU type and RAM was its detail, and for the t-shirt, this color and size is its detail. And same goes with manufacturing equipment. This voltage and this warranty expiration is its feature. So we have these three type of product, and each product will have its own kind of fields. So it is only an example of three items, but in a real case scenario, you can take an example of Amazon or any other e-commerce site. They are going to provide you hundreds of items, thousands of items. And if you are going to create all those items as a base model in your code base, then your code will become a very messy. And also, if any other new product type you are going to add in your inventory or in your browser or in your app, sorry, in your application, then again you need to create a one more base model into your code, and you need to restart your application every time. It's not a good practice. So what's the solution? We need something dynamic, which we need something which can create by its own. And yes, this fast API provide us the solution too. So what is our solution? The solution is Pydantic create model. So this Pydantic create model, I will explain you in detail with the explanation in the code. And what are the features we can use through the Pydantic create model. Before going into any further, this Pydantic create model will create your base model dynamically. You don't need to write all the base model one by one for each of the product. We are going to create a dynamic request body. So whenever whenever someone is going to create a particular item into our database, into our application using post request, so that will come into the dynamic request body, because we are going to create a model dynamically. So we need to handle the request also dynamically. After getting the dynamic request, we need to create a dynamic response too. So once the model is created dynamically, we need to create dynamic request, then we need to create a dynamic response model. And also this Pydantic provide us a very good feature rich validation thing, which we are also going to implement in our code. And after this, there is one assignment for you, which you need to work by all yourself. And if you get any issue, I will provide you all the solution. After understanding these all the concept, we will dive into the advanced and real world scenario. Don't worry, I will just give you all the knowledge theoretically for the last part, but that we should understand very uh, deeply, because these are the actual scenarios which you are going to implement if you are going to work in an enterprise. So we will understand these problems, real world scenarios, and why to use this fast API, and also few of the concept we will use into our implementation in future. So we understood about our problem statement, that we cannot create model for each of the product which have different type of details, which have different type of fields. We need to add some kind of dynamic programming in it. So let's go to the solution, this Pydantic create model. So we will create a method which will generate our dynamic model, and we will create our dynamic post API. So we are going to create two things here. The first thing is create method which can generate dynamic model. And this dynamic, okay, I just misspelled it, dynamic model. And array dynamic model. And the second thing is we are going to create a post request. So let's start with the first task. So here what I'll do is I already wrote the code which I will paste here, and I will explain what the thing which we did one by one. So here in the first line, what I did is I created a method in which I used parameter as category ID. So here I have all the category definition, and all the category definition have one primary index that is category ID. So that I will take as an input, and from that input, because it will be different all the time, what I am returning here is base model. So from the first line, it is identified that from this method, what I am returning is, that is Pydantic base model. So we are going to create a dynamic base model. So what is my category? From the category ID, I checked whether the category exists or not. So from the category ID, which I get as an input, I passed it to my database output, and from there I checked whether the category is present or not. If the category is not, then I'm simply providing that this product category not found. It is not supported by my database. It is not supported by my e-commerce site. And if this category is there, what I will use is these base field. What are these base fields? So coming back to this particular product form, here I saw that this product name, this SKU, and the price, these two fields were constant for all the products. Anyhow, all the products will have its product name, that is some serial number, and its price. But all the other fields can be differ, like their size. Some items will have their manufacturing uh, fields, anything. It can be anything. So I have these two constant field, that is SKU, this is storage keeping unit, and the price. So what I will do is I will use these two as my base field. After using these two as my base field, what I have to do is to work for this particular category. Let's say if I am going to work with this t-shirt, I need these fields too, the color and the size. So I need to add these two fields, the color and size, with my base field. So what I did is I use this all fields here. So here I use this base field. From here And the category, from the category which I got from my database output, I simply return the field key. I simply return the value of this fields key. So here it will return me this color and size. After getting this color and size, this SKU and price, now I have all the fields for my model for that particular product. So I can create a model. So this create model, which I simply call from the Pydantic, I just called here. Inside the create model, what I have to do is I have to provide a model name. So anyhow, I'm going to create this model for this particular t-shirt. So what I used is I name. This name will be different. It might be different, it might be same, but for this example, I will take it as a different. So I created a one dynamic name for this particular model, that will be dynamic t-shirt model, and all the fields which I fetched earlier, I will provide it here, and it will create a model, and that particular model object it will return. So we have created successfully one dynamic model from it. Let's go to the post request. Now we will create one post request too. This thing, what I will do is I will write it here, async this def, and this will be create dynamic product. Okay, this create dynamic product, and inside this product, what I need from the user is category ID, which I will pass. This category ID will be int, and this category ID, after this, what I'm getting from the user is the request body. So request body will be dictionary. This dictionary will be str, and it can have any. Okay, so here I have this dictionary and this str, and okay, I have just completed it. For this category ID, I need a route to, so I will use the app dot post. Inside the post, I will write the route. It will be products, and after this category ID, and I will close the bracket, I will close the quotes, and I will close the bracket again. So we have created the route, I have created the input parameter. So from here, what I will do is simply I will call the model from my method, this get product model for category, get product model for category by using the category ID which I'm taking from the user. Okay, great. So I have the model. What I will do is I will write the try exception block. We should use this try exception block all the time. Validation product. Validate product will be more useful. Validate product equals to, what I will do is I will use my model which I have created earlier, and I will pass the request body here. Where is my request body? Request body is here, and it is validated. Accept exception as error, and what I will do is I will do the raise. We should do the raise HTTP exception. Inside the HTTP status code will be 422, and details will be the error. And if all the things are correct, then what I will do is, okay, here is my message. Product created successfully, and the product is validate product dot model dot dub. Okay, so everything is completed. Here is my message and here is my product. Okay, great. So what I did here is, from this expression you can understand, okay, the model which I wanted to create dynamically, it is created here, and here I'm validating my fields. I'm validating but whether all the fields related to this particular category or this particular categories are correct or not. What are the all fields? That is, this SKU, this price, and the fields which are present inside the category. So these are the fields which I am asking from the user to give me. If these fields are there, then only I am going to process it. So if these all things are validated, then I'm returning here, okay, the product created successfully, and this validate product dot model dump, it will going to store the data into your database. So we have created this. So let's try this into our Postman application, whether it's working fine or not. So here, okay, this is SKU, RAM, this 2, this 8 GB. Let's use it for the t-shirt. Okay, t-shirt, we should use the color. Okay, we are going to use the color will be black, and what I'll do is I will use the JSON. Okay, so if it is correct, then it should run with the post request with the OK status. Okay, I got this 200 OK, and what I got in the return is product created successfully with the size of M. As I just hard coded or I just restricted it to M, if it is nothing there, then okay, it's fine. It is created with the M, but I can use the size too. If I am going to provide, I will use the size, and size I will use the large. Okay, send. See, it is reflecting here. So our post API is working very perfectly, the fast API, using the dynamic create model. So we have created our model dynamically. Let's go into our slides. We understood the problem. We created a dynamic model successfully. Then we created the dynamic request bodies too. But now let's understand this dynamic response model too. So for the dynamic response model, as we have segregated our products into some dynamic model, into some category ID, so we have to provide the response as well based on those dynamic model. So let's create our dynamic response model. To create our dynamic response model, what we are trying to achieve here is, we are not going to create any hard-coded model. We are going to create a GET request which will use these dynamic models and will return the data which we needed. So to do the same, what I will do is, I've already created the output of my product database. It is mimicking the output of product database, and from this table what I'm getting is this 101, this 202, this 303. These are the product IDs. See, when you are going into your browser or into your e-commerce website or any other application, what you see is whatever the data your application fetching through the GET request from your database. So what we are trying to do is, we will use these particular dynamic model, and we will fetch the data as complete and also the category wise. So why we need a category wise? Because when you are going to click on some product detail, let's say if you want to see only for the t-shirts, and you will click on t-shirt, you will see the page only related to the data which is showing you, and which is grabbing all the fields of that t-shirt and showing you the complete profile, like okay, I have these many t-shirts and you can choose one from any of it. So we are going to mimic that, not mimic, we are going to develop that particular GET request. So let's start. Uh, we will create this GET request very fast. It is very easy with this Pydantic create model. And what we will do is, we will create this GET product. And from here, first we will create the API to fetch a particular product ID or particular product type. So we have this product ID we will take from the user, and we will add a route to this app dot this at the rate app dot set the rate app dot get, and our path will be products slash product ID, and here I will provide one more slash so it will complete the path. Okay, I have defined all the things. So first what we will do, we will check whether the product ID which is asked by the user, even that exists or not into our database. So what we will do is product data equals to product database, and from the product database we will provide the product ID. So if it is not there, then what we will do is we will raise an exception. We will raise this HTTP exception with the status code 404, and details will be product does not exist. Okay, so we handled the one negative scenario. Now let's work on our positive case. So we have this product data and we need this category ID so that we can create our dynamic model which we will use for our response. This product data, and from that product data we will check the category ID. Okay, we get the category ID too, and here what we will do is we will create the response model from the category ID. Response model, and the method which we have created, where it is this get product model. Okay, this get product model for the category. And okay, so if I'm going to fetch for the t-shirt, so it will return the response model with the attributes which is required for my UI, for my response. Okay, I got the response model. Now it's time to create the response structure. So response data will be this, and here I need SKU. This SKU will come from the product data, this product data, and this SKU. Price, it should be in double quotes. Okay, this price will again come from product data. And after this, the very good thing which we have this product data, and from the product data I have this attributes. Okay, so we have created our response data as well by using these attributes. So we have this response model, we have this response data. Now what we have to do is we need to validate it. So how we are going to validate? Let's create one try. With this, I will do the return of this response model using this response data. See how good it is to work with FastAPI. With very simple coding, I just created the model dynamically, and using that model I'm validating my response data, and that I'm returning here. And in case if anything goes in different direction, except exception as error, then what I will do is I will do the return or raise this HTTP exception with the status code of 22 and details of you can say for here this error. So it will do all the things as a string. Okay, fine. So we have created our get API for a particular product ID. Let's create one get API for all the products so that whenever the user comes to your dashboard, the user can get all the data, whatever is there and which you want to show to your user. So again, what I will do is I will just copy it, these two lines. Okay, I just copied it. And from the product ID, I will just ask for the products. And here I will not ask anything. It will be empty and this will be get all products. That will be more uh, reasonable. And what I will do is I will just return this list of your product database, the output of the product the output of your database and dot values. I guess it will do the work. Okay, I need to add the response model as well. Response model, and here it will be dictionary dict. So inside the dict, actually it will go as there will be multiple components. So it will be list, and this dict will contain the first key as a str and the value can be any. Okay, I guess we have completed the complete post and get request. So misspelled word. Okay, I need to use s here. This response model will be used in here. So okay, all the spellings are correct. Now it's time to test whether my app is working or not. So where is my postman? Okay, so inside the products, let's check for this product number 303. This product 303 and do the get request. Okay, I got this details not found. Why so? Typed cannot be instantiated. Use dict instead. Type error. Self.name cannot be initiated. Okay, I did the mistake in this dict. It should be like with the square brackets, and let's check for another mistakes as well. This product ID. Okay, let's check after saving this. Even if our server is fine or not, we are getting this key error 303, internal server error. Okay, the request answer got changed. Okay, fine. So if we will do this it with int, because it is reading it as a string, that's why it is unable to find it. So if I save it, let's check. Okay, it is fine here, and we will send it again. Okay, so now we are getting the perfect response which we were seeking for, and not for 303. Let's test for 101. Okay, so we are getting this laptop details as well, and for the t-shirt, this 202, what we will get? We will get this white and size as L. Okay, so these all things are working fine. I hope this product should works as well. And if I do only products, okay, it is returning me all the data which I have in my database. So we have successfully created. Let's get back to our slides. So we have successfully created our dynamic response model. Okay, so we have successfully created our dynamic response model. Now let's talk about this adding validation. Why we need it? So we have created all the things so dynamically, but still few things were there which we need to feed to our database earlier. So this is the part where we are feeding our database. So when we were feeding our this category definition, there only we can provide bit more validations. So how we are going to provide these validation? By using the literals, we can add the validation to some of our fields. So let's call this literal first, and okay, we called it through the typing, and let's go to our t-shirt. So what I will do is I will remove this particular by default part, and I will call the literal. Inside the literal, I will use this square brackets, and I will create my conditions here. Okay, this, and this L for large, and one more, this Excel. Okay, so I have this Excel, this and this. After that, what I will do, I will make it mandatory. So I have this close bracket, I have the literal, I have the size. So what it will do, the earlier when we were able to send our post request, so for the t-shirt size, if I didn't provide the size, it will by default take the medium, but currently it should not run. So let's check what the output it will give. So it will give the internal server error. Let's try it with the some size. Okay, if I have this size, I will use the size as L, L for large. Then I will do the send. Okay, it is able to work with this L. Now use something which is not there. Use Z, size Z, and again internal server error. If we have handled it, then definitely we will get some glorified message, not glorified, some uh, valid message. But as we didn't handle it, so it is giving me the internal server error. So this part we also worked on this adding validation. We can add the validation to our database schemas too. So we have completed the part of adding validation too, and from this we have completed the cycle of this Pydantic create model too. So we are now expert in this dynamic part. So for this, I have an assignment for you, and you can find this assignment through my GitHub repo, and it is open to all. From this assignment, what I wanted you to create one dynamic content management API. So your task is to build a headless content management system API using the FastAPI. The API must be able to accept and validate different type of content like the blog post, author profile, etc., each with its own unique structure using a single endpoint. So what you have to do is you have to create a single API. Like we created a single API for all of our product, you have to create a single API to entertain the data of either it can be blog post or user want to update its profile. So from this assignment, you will get the feel of this Pydantic create model. And if you face any issue in it, please contact me through the comments. I will provide you the answers as well. And after a few days, I will definitely update the solution too. But first, I want you to go through the scenario and create it by your own. In this particular assignment, I have provided all the things in a detailed way. I have created the task. I have provided the example structure. I have created the bullet points too, so that you can understand what steps I need to create or what steps it is expected. So this is the part of assignment. Let's come to the final part, this advanced and real world scenarios. So we know about this Pydantic create model and we have created successfully as well. But there are few things which we need to take care in our mind as well. Out of these all the scenarios, we are going to handle few of them into our later series when we are going to work in our project. So first thing is caching model for the performance. So let's say you have created an API and that API is handling thousands of requests per minute. Like there are thousands of users who are using your application, and if all the users will use a single API endpoint, at that time it might be possible that your application can go to a crash state because of the resources issue. So you must need to handle it through the caching mechanism. I want you to go into the Google and search how to use the caching through your application so that you can make your application more efficient for those requests for which the multiple users are requesting the data. Another is handling nested dynamic models. So what we used was a very simple one, but in a real world scenario, most of the e-commerce website or most of the application not selling a single product, they are selling you a bundle of products. So in a bundle of products, let's take an example of a laptop. With the laptop you are selling a bag too, and with the bag you are selling some other protective stuff or life insurance too. So these are three separate entity which are getting bundled with that product and you are selling it to the customer. So when it comes to the multiple product, you need to use this nested dynamic model. Coming to the third part, this complex cross-field validation. So just assume that your application is international and because of some federal laws, you have to provide some kind of discount to one particular state or some another type of restriction to another country or state. So in that way, for a single product, you have to rule out some rules for different type of user or different type of geolocations. That will come under the cross-field validation. I'm asking you to go through these points into the Google so that you can understand first. And again, I'm saying to you, if you are getting any issue with any of the detail or if you're getting confused with anything, just let me know in the comments. I will give you the proper answer or we can have a discussion too. Coming to this managing model definition in a database. So you saw like when we added a product, so there were some attributes too. Let me show you again so that we will be in the same page. So if I go to these fields are the attributes which makes it different from the other products. So if if there is if someone is going to add a particular product or fields into your database, then it should not be a way that you have to come to the developer or programmer and ask them to add that particular specification. There should be a business person and you have to create one admin page for them so that they can go and add a product with their required attribute validation and category. In this way, you can streamline your complete process because it's the requirement from the business perspective that what products comes into which category. Coming to the last one, this dynamic open API schema generation. So whatever your API is handling, it should be updated in your open API schema as well. Dynamically, we need to take care about it also when we are developing our code. So these are the advanced and real world scenario which I want you to go and search in Google so that you can understand, okay, what are the limitations we can see when we are developing, because at the time of development we don't look into this point, but we should consider these points as well. So that's it. That is all from the video of this dynamic model creation, and I I hope that I delivered something good to you. And if there is any doubt, again, and if there is any doubt and if you need any help, let me know in the comment. And also, if you like this video, then please comment and let me know that I'm in the right way. Also, please subscribe and share. Thank you.